It started with a hush. The kind of silence that overtakes a room, not because it's empty, but because everyone present knows something important is about to happen. It was a town hall in Minneapolis, packed to the doors, buzzing with political tension. Cameras rolled, phones were raised, and then came the voice that sparked it all. "I hear a lot of talk about division," Ilhan Omar said from the stage, her voice calm but edged with steel. "But division doesn't come from speaking the truth. It comes from people being afraid to face it." The crowd murmured, some clapping, others shifting in their seats, uncertain. Seated in the front row was Kennedy Brooks, a 33-year-old teacher, Army veteran, and a single father of two. He wasn't a politician. He didn't have a press team or a campaign slogan. What he had was a story, a fire that had been building in him for months, and tonight, it couldn't stay quiet any longer. He stood up, not loudly, not dramatically, but the way he rose, low, deliberate, purposeful, made the audience take notice. Even Omar paused mid-sentence. "Excuse me, Congresswoman," he said, voice steady, carrying in the silent room. "I have to say something. And I say this with all due respect. You're not the only one speaking the truth here." A murmur swept the room like a breeze. Omar nodded slightly, curious but composed. "Go ahead." Kennedy took a step forward. No mic, no script, just raw, unfiltered emotion. "My name is Kennedy Brooks. I teach history at Roosevelt High. I served 2 tours in Iraq. And I'm raising 2 kids on my own after my wife passed 4 years ago. I've seen what division looks like, not from podiums or Twitter threads but from hospital beds, funerals, and classrooms where kids don't know where their next meal's coming from." The silence was different now. He had their attention, with rage, but with something deeper, humanity. "You say division comes from fear of the truth. Maybe, but sometimes, division comes when leaders forget to listen." Omar looked him in the eye, and something shifted on her face. Not defensiveness, not defiance, just awareness. "I watched my students cry when the George Floyd video came out. I held my son when he asked if someone would hurt me because of my skin. I supported BLM, marched peacefully, and then spent weeks helping local businesses clean up after riots destroyed what little they had. I believe in justice. I also believe in accountability on all sides, and I'm tired of being told I'm either part of the problem or not doing enough. I'm doing everything I can just to hold it together." His voice cracked. Just slightly, he paused, took a breath. "I don't have your platform, Congresswoman, but I've got scars, I've got heart, and I've got kids who need more than headlines and division." A woman in the back stood up and clapped. Then another. Then a man near the side, and before anyone realized what was happening, the entire room was on its feet, applauding not in anger, not in protest, but in unity. In recognition of something rare, honest courage. Omar waited for the applause to settle. She stepped forward slowly. "You're right," she said quietly. "You are absolutely right." She walked down from the stage, no security, no handlers, and stood beside him. "People like you. You're why I ran for office. But sometimes the view from the top makes you forget what's on the ground. And I'm sorry if I made you feel unseen or unheard. That's not who I want to be." Kennedy didn't answer right away, but the emotion in his eyes said enough. They shook hands. The moment went viral within hours. News outlets twisted it into a dozen different narratives: left versus right, patriot versus progressive, veteran versus Congresswoman. But those who were in the room knew the truth. It wasn't a fight, it was a reckoning. In the days that followed, something rare happened. Omar invited Kennedy to speak at a community forum she organized. Not as a politician, not as an endorsement, but as a voice that had reminded her and everyone listening that truth isn't owned by any side, that pain, hope, and healing exist in all people, and sometimes it takes one courageous heart to break the pattern. Kennedy went back to his classroom, back to his kids, back to his quiet life. But the ripple he started didn't stop. A year later, he helped launch a non-profit aimed at bridging conversations between veterans, Educators, activists, and lawmakers, people who rarely spoke to each other, but all wanted the same thing, a better future. And in every meeting, every speech, every classroom, he'd repeat the same words. You don't have to be famous to be heard. You just have to stand up when it matters. In a world addicted to outrage, Kennedy Brooks offered something else: clarity, compassion, and courage. And no one, not even Ilhan Omar, expected what came next.